Hello there and welcome back to Cuckoo for Books. I am Salva and today we are talking about the fourth book in Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass series, Queen of Shadows! I'm very excited to talk about this book. I've been waiting for it for quite a while. If you've watched my previous videos, I've got my Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire all up in here. I'm just gonna add a little disclaimer right now that this review is probably gonna be full of spoilers because a lot of shiz goes down right at the beginning of the book and I can't really talk about anything without going into deep dark spoilers. I have a lot of feelings about this book, so let's just get right on to it. So the one non-spoilery thing I could give perhaps is the biggest change in the series, and that is we finally see that Celaena goes by Aelin. For the first 4 books, if you're counting the Assassin's Blade, we see Celaena did this, Celaena did that. After the events of Heir of Fire, when she finally claimed her destiny, she started referring to herself as Aelin. I didn't even notice until I was about 40 pages in, and then I realized that she was referring to herself as Aelin. It's a small thing, but it marks such a change in the series. This is it. This is where all the shiz goes down. That's it. The rest are like chock full of spoilers, so if you haven't read the book, you should because it's really awesome, and I'm gonna leave you with that while you go click X out of this tab because you probably don't want to get spoiled. First, my notes. I love this book. This was an amazing novel. I just finished it like 5 minutes ago. I kid you not. But there were a few things I didn't like. First, do you hear that? What is that, Salva, you may ask? Why, that is the sound of my ship sinking. Yes, the ship I thought was Endgame, aka Kaelena, is now gone. For good. Why? Why? Rowan and Aelin, they're good together. I've talked about them in the Heir of Fire review, how I love their crime-fighting action duo, and how I prayed that they wouldn't end up together. And now look what happened, they ended up together. Not only did my ship of Kaelena sink, but they spent like a good 3/4 of the novel angry at each other. It wasn't even anger like in Crown of Midnight, where it was just so mad at him that there was passionate fury there. In Queen of Shadows, there was just this big gap between them. They wouldn't talk about what they'd been through. They wouldn't acknowledge each other. It was so sad to read. Thankfully, at the ending, there was this big closure moment right before the big battle at the end, and that kind of, you know, it made me happier. They were able to get their feelings out and acknowledge each other and everything they'd been through. But at the end of the day, my ship is still sunk, and that's all I can say right now. I am still grieving, so we'll move on. I do not like Nesrin Falik, or at least her characterization. To me, she was the filler character. I get what she stands for. She was supposed to be there to add another kick-ass lady to the team and have someone be in Kael's court, while everybody was like, Aelin with Rowan and Aedion, and Kael needed someone in his court that wasn't Dorian, and that was Nesrin. And I get it, but you could tell the whole time that she was sort of the reserve love interest, and I could tell there's potential in her. She's a female soldier in the city guard, and she's not let into the royal guard because she's a girl, and oh, I just felt like that had so much room for development. Maybe we'll see more of that in the 5th book, but I just, throughout the book, I was just like, this is the woman that's gonna steal Kael from Aelin, isn't it? Nesrin, this stranger who we don't even know, and we're supposed to trust our baby Kael with her? No. I also see my poor child, Dorian Haviliard, for like 3/4 of the novel in pain. I really thought they were gonna kill him. I thought he was gonna be like the sacrificial lamb or the trigger, the emotional trigger that they needed to go all out into battle. The ending surprised me and made me happy because I think right now we've changed so much from the first 2 books. Characters are different, events, settings. If we had lost Dorian, it would have been like cutting another thread to the first 2 books, and I wouldn't have liked that, so I'm really glad he survived. We also finally get to see, finally, the reunion of Aedion and Aelin. It was really nice to see both of them interact, especially the beginning where they sort of just sit down drinking and comparing battle scars. I thought that was such a sweet, tender moment between them. Another person I thought was gonna die at the end was Aedion. Excuse me, 4 weird hounds attacked him. He's never getting out of that alive. I loved seeing him fangirl over Rowan. It would be like working on a book with J.K. Rowling. someone you idolized your whole life, and then suddenly you're on the same team and you're supposed to be equals. And that was exactly Aedion with Rowan. He's like, we're supposed to be co-soldiers? I love you, man. At the end, Rowan was like, you're a good chap. And Aedion's just like, my hero likes me back. This nice new bromance between Aedion and Rowan is good. Side note, it has nothing to do with the book or the plot, but I was really surprised that Sarah J. Maas was able to work in twat in her book. That is all. Back to the real plot and characters and things that we have to talk about. And I'm so glad that we were able to see more of the witches in Morath, where they are. We also finally see a lead. She's a tough one, that one. I feel like we didn't get to see quite enough of her. Really loved when they revealed that she was actually part witch, and Manon and her 13 sort of took her under her wing. I also liked the breeding subplot among the witches. I feel like, at least I hope in the next book, that they're gonna break free from her grandmother's reign and be like, this isn't cool, stop treating us like slaves. We're the 13, we're not here to be messengers or little foot soldiers. Talk about the other thing happening in Morath, Caltaine Rompier. Way back in Throne of Glass, I said I really wanted to see more of Caltaine in second, third book. That didn't happen. The fourth book, she came back, and my did she come back with a vengeance. Finding out that she was the only person probably who was able to break free from the Valg hold inside her. I thought she was this simpering little court lady who just wanted to marry Dorian, and at the end, it turns out she was the only one with the power to break the demon hold inside her. Her big scene-stealing moment at the end. That was just such a beautiful moment. If there was a way to go, that was the way to go. We see another familiar character from the Assassin's Blade series in the form of Lysandra. I don't want to say she was a replacement for Nehemia, but I really enjoyed those little moments she had with Selena talking about clothes, just the little hints that she would drop, like, oh, I borrowed this from Lysandra, and especially at the end where Selena pays for her freedom and gives her land in Terrasen and says, you're officially nobility now, you're a lady of this land. She grew quickly to be one of my favorite characters at the end of the book. I also loved how she puked on Lorcan twice. Good job, girl. In this book, there was also the most important thing of all that I've been waiting for since the Assassin's Blade, and that is the return of Arobynn Hamel. I love the games that Aelin played to keep up with him and all the tricking that she did with the swapping of the jewels and the rings, and I thought she was gone for good when he slid that black stone ring on her. And the reason, when I found out that that was the reason she dyed her hair red, was so people would mistake her for Arobynn, I was like, genius! At the beginning of the book, I was like, why does Aelin seem to be going in reverse? Like, at the end of Air of Fire, she went through so much character development, and then start of Queen of Shadows, she went back to this snarky girl who just killed and killed and killed. Right before she's about to kill him, it was to set up this huge trap for Arobynn to fall in. It was a huge setup for him. And that's why she did this and did that and kept disappearing throughout the night. Girl plans ahead. Also, I'm glad she cut off his head. In a time where deaths are never sure, I'm looking right at you, Game of Thrones TV show. It was important for us to always see the killing blow because you never knew when a character would be brought back to life. The reveal that Aedion is actually half Fae, and Gabriel's son, no less, was staggering. It was so funny how Rowan just dropped it like it was common knowledge. Oh yeah, you're Gabriel's son. You didn't know? Yeah, you're totes my best friend's son. Dang it, Rowan! Tact. Learn some. There was this also other part when Madame Florine just sort of swears allegiance to her and says that wherever you are, I'm gonna come find you and serve at your court because art is important and that we need that in our lives. And I just so agree with that. I think everyone was looking forward to this, and that is the long-awaited meeting of the two badass ladies in this series, and that is Manon and Aelin. At first, I was like, this is a really anticlimactic meeting. Like, they met in the middle of the woods, and they were like, I'm not looking for a fight today. So they walk away, and then Aelin opens her big fat mouth, and then a fight happens. Thank you for opening up your big fat mouth, because that was such an epic fight! I could hear the film score in my head when they were fighting on the temple with the two bridges, where she let Manon tear the temple out from under her by ducking, so Manon would hit the walls and she would go around in a circle until all the pillars fell down. Like, how do you think of these things? These are so mind-blowing. These are two very skilled ladies. You couldn't tell who was gonna win at the end. And I thought that was gonna be the highlight of the book. And then the final battle happened. Side note, Aelin meeting Fleetfoot again and just smiling a little. Girl, that's your dog. Like, that is the dog who you slept with, who was your constant companion when you had no one. Not cool that you just smile a little. You should hug that dog and beg on your knees and apologize for leaving that dog. You don't smile a little. The attack on the glass castle and trying to destroy the clock tower was just one goosebump after another. Like, chills throughout the whole thing. And then you find out that Manon left a note for Aelin saying, like, witch killer, the human is still inside him, and repayment of a life debt. It was such a Manon thing to do, not to face Aelin directly because she's not that emotional, she's not that sweet, but at the same time she owed her a debt that had to be repaid. We hate Lorcan, mean boy. I don't care what he does in the future books to redeem himself, but that boy is annoying. Not only did he not kill the Weird Hounds, but you know, you thought Aedion and Rowan were gonna get away with it, you know, they were like, let's light the fuse, now we're running. Oh wait, Weird Hounds, not only that, they have my scent. We hate him. At the end, Aelin and the king meet once again. The king somehow knows that that's Aelin and not Celaena. Oh, witchcraft, how do you know? You devil, you. He sends Dorian after her, and that chase through the palace was like, whew, that was exhilarating. Again, another time when I could hear the film score in my head and you could just imagine what it would look like played out on the big screen. And it kind of mirrored the way in the third book where Dorian stayed to give Chaol time to run. And in this book, Chaol was able to repay the favor by staying while Dorian ran. Chaol's sacrifice, I thought he was gonna die. This might sound a little harsh, but I thought, well, he saved Dorian, which is what he wanted to do. He's not Aelin's love interest anymore. His friends are all dead. Might as well kill Chaol off. When the king was like, he's still alive, I was like, yes, my baby. I mean, I'm so sorry for saying you could have died, but I'm so glad he's alive. Also in the final battle, as much as I don't like Nesrin, man, that is good sharpshooting. In the movies, that's the moment where the audience would have clapped and gone, and we never learned the King of Adarlan's name. He's always referred to as the King of Adarlan, or Dorian's dad. So I thought, oh my god, his name is Erewhon, isn't it? And that's how Celaena's gonna... Aelin, stop calling her Celaena, Salva. That's how Aelin's gonna beat him, by calling him Erewhon. The king's death, I have mixed feelings about. We find out that he has also been inhabited by a demon this time. Therefore, it's not wholly his fault. Also, we find out that Erewhon is in Parrington's body. Ergo, Parrington is Erewhon. Ergo, the king is not really to blame. I mentioned this a billion other times in my videos. My only problem with YA literature recently is that they don't let villains take the blame for what they've done. At the end, there's this hint of remorse and something that'll make you feel for the villain. When will a person ever be just bad and die bad so the bad person gets what he has coming? The end, even though he died, there was a sense of relief, but not as much as it would have been if he was the bad guy and it ended with him. The aftermath scenes of the battle were really sweet. I cried. I was like, my vision's getting blurry. Why is my vision getting blurry? Oh, those must be tears. When Chaol's like, can you show me your powers? And that just split my heart in two, because remember in the second book he used to be terrified of her powers. He hated magic, and just him asking her to show him her powers was just so beautiful and sad, and I'm getting choked up thinking about it right now. Another part that got to me was Chaol, Dorian, and Aelin just in her room, just the three of them, right before she leaves. You were taken back to the first two books when it was just the three of them, and here they were again, and so different from who they were. That last page of Aelin finally returning home and seeing her first glimpse of Terrasen for the first time in 10 years was wonderful and magical. this was what she's been fighting for the past 4 books, and finally she's here and she's home. And I'm so excited for the next books and what it's gonna bring. I love this book. Thank you for watching this review. If you guys liked it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, both at Cuckoo for Books, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!